Very well everyone, welcome back to yet another The Last Story analysis video. Today we'll take a look at all the characters in Deathmatch, what they can do, and create a tier list. Keep in mind that this list is built with some objective data that I gathered from the game, but is also influenced by my personal experience while playing as each of the 22 characters. Meaning that just because a character is in tier D, doesn't mean you can't win with it and be good with it. Before we begin, let me tell you what is the objective data I pulled from the game, that will be used to compare the fighters. First, there's the class. The game divides characters into two classes, melee and casters. I personally would further divide the melee class into three more subclasses: standard melee, weak melee, and multi-melee. Standard melee are characters who have base strength and most abilities are at their disposal. Weak melee are characters who deal less damage, receive more damage, and have limited skills, but other perks in that place. And finally, multi-melee are characters who attack multiple times at once, like Syrenne for example. Next, we have movement speed. I got this data by having each character running a loop around the outer rim of the largest arena in Deathmatch. There's really only 3 movement speeds, but we'll get to this later. Skill type is the special skill you can do when holding the A button, if applicable. Slash is whether the character can perform a slash. Vertical slice is whether the character can perform a vertical slice. Arrow type tells us what kind of arrow the character is equipped with at the start of a match. And defenses is a rough estimate of the character's defenses compared to the majority. Since 8 out of 22 characters belong to the standard melee class, those make up the majority and will be taken as base reference for this. Let's begin with Zael. Class, standard melee. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, Gale. Slash, yes. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, normal. Zael is among the most basic fighters in Deathmatch. Powerful and easy to use. What sets him apart from the others though is Gale. Because Gale's damage is considered magical, Zael can somewhat take advantage of magic essences, while other melee fighters can't. Because of that, Zael earns his praise in the S tier. Next, we have Dagran's group, which comprehends the Reptid Commando and Gurak guard. These characters all have the same abilities and essentially act as reskins of each other. There are other groups like this, and they will be pointed out. Class, standard melee. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, jump. Slash, yes. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, normal. These characters trade Zael's Gale for a short jump. The jump does more damage than Gale, but is physical damage rather than magical. While it can be charged, its usefulness is quite limited. A power essence is almost required to deal a significant blow. For this reason, Dagran's group gets the A tier. Not as good as Zael, but still pretty solid overall. Here we have the big boys, Ashtar's group, which includes Therius and Jirall. Class, standard melee. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, high jump. Slash, yes. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, normal. These 3 boys act exactly like Dagran's group, but have the high jump ability. This is essentially a stronger jump, which has a longer animation, but yields much better results. Slap a power essence on top, and it can be devastating. Because of this one skill, Ashtar's group stands above Dagran's and gets the S tier alongside Zael. And now for the weirdest melee fighter, Berith. Class, standard melee. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, dash. Ouch. Dash is by far the worst A skill to have. It's barely useful, hard to control, and leaves you exposed, especially in the end of the animation. Slash, yes. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, light times 3. Berith's arrows are unique. For starters, his rate of fire is lower, similar to the one of a caster, but for each arrow, he fires 3 shots at a time, one directly where you aim, the other 2 at the sides. This applies to all arrows, not just his unique light arrows, which, for the record, deal 429 damage to a character with normal defenses. Speaking of his defenses, they are normal. Berith also has some unique properties. First, his guard stance appears to cover all sides instead of just in front of him. I haven't been able to test this yet, but that's what the animation seems to suggest. Second, his Annihilator arrow damage is boosted by a flat 500 damage. Wow, with all that going for him, that seems like it could land up pretty high up in tier list, right? Well, not really. There's another property unique to Berith. Yep, he cannot pick up special weapons, therefore missing on the status ailments and power boosts they provide. This can really end up messing Berith players in maps where lots of weapons appear, such as Tower of Trials 4th floor. Also, his attack animation is very slow compared to other standard fighters and doesn't even do more damage. If you play as Berith, you better take advantage of any Annihilator arrows drops you can find, if you can find any. Because of the triple shot you have access to, shooting an opponent at near point blank range means you can hit with multiple shots, dealing an extraordinary amount of damage. But other than that, it doesn't have much more going for it. Berith is very hard to play as, and its usefulness relies a lot on RNG. Therefore, I think he deserves the D tier. Before we take on the other melee fighters, let's take a look at the casters. First, we have Calista's group, with Yurick, Mirania, Lowell, and the Gurak Sorcerer. Class, Caster. Movement speed, 110%, 10% faster than normal. Skill type, Magic. Slash, no. Vertical Slice, no. Arrow type, Magical. Defenses, 83%. Keep in mind that casters take a bit less magical damage than melee fighters do, so their magical defense is actually a bit higher. Generally speaking though, they are frail. This group is pretty solid. Being faster helps to get away from slower melee fighters, and while magic takes a while to cast, a fully charged spell deals massive damage, taking out any character in one blow unless they're able to block or dodge. Casters can also take advantage of both power and magic essences. With a power essence, you can sneak some powerful hits on unsuspecting players who think they can afford to fight you at melee range just because you're a caster. And magic essences allow you to one-hit kill players even without fully charging spells. Some maps and characters matchups can be detrimental for casters, but in general, they're pretty good units and well deserve the A tier. A quick word on magic. In free-for-all deathmatch, all magic is essentially the same. In team deathmatch, however, you can diffuse magic circles cast by allies to activate their effects. Because of that, and the characters matchups you can get, some casters may occasionally be better than others. For reference, Calista provides Barrier, Mirania provides Silence, Yurick and Gurak Sorcerer provide Break, and finally Lowell and the Undead Sorcerer provide Slip. Speaking of, the Undead Sorcerer. Class, Caster. Movement speed, normal. Yes, it moves as fast as a melee fighter. Not good. Skill type, Magic. Slash, no. Vertical Slice, no. Arrow type, Magical. Defenses, 83%. In addition, it often gets staggered on hit, opening up for more punishment. This character is just a slower moving caster, much inferior to Calista's group. It has no advantages at all, so... wait. No, it actually has an advantage. Because it has no head, it cannot suffer headshot damage. Huh. Doesn't matter, still the worst character in the game in my opinion, and well belongs to the D tier. Here, go keep Berith some company. Moving on, we have Horace. Class, Weak Melee. Movement speed, 110%, just like a caster. Skill type, none. Slash, yes. Vertical Slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, 60%. The lowest in the game, tied with another character. To be fair, Horace isn't great. Because he is in the weak melee class, he does roughly a third of the damage of a standard melee like Zael. Also, his defenses are lower. He's got slightly faster movement speed, so you can try to take advantage of that. However, without some items to back him up, it will be hard to score kills as him. Therefore, he belongs to the C tier. Not as weak as Berith and the Undead Sorcerer, but not very strong either. Reptid Scout. Class, Weak Melee. Movement speed, 128%, the highest in the game. Skill type, none. Slash, yes. Vertical Slice, no. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, 60%. This guy is essentially an Horace that trades being able to vertical slice for even faster movement speed. However, this faster speed can make it a dangerous threat. Because he's about 28% faster than most characters, it will be easier for him to create distance from powerful melee fighters on the chase. The opposite is also true. Get a Power Essence or Ancient Essence and he can rush down other players that will have an hard time to run away, especially in smaller maps like the arena. In the hands of a player with knowledge of item spawn locations, this character can go from weak to quite a strong one. If you plan on using it, check out my Deathmatch Arena analysis video to learn all about the different arenas and item spawn locations. Link in the upper right corner and in the description. In conclusion, this character needs a good arena and a knowledgeable player to really shine. Otherwise, it's pretty mediocre. Therefore, I'd place it comfortably in the B tier. Moving on, we have the last group of melee fighters, beginning with Zesha. Class, Multi-Melee. Hits twice. Against a character with normal defenses, it deals 622 damage twice, for a potential total of 1244 damage. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, high jump. Slash, no. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, normal. Zesha's high jump is weaker than other high jumps. This is because the high jump damage takes into consideration the damage of a single attack in its calculation. Zesha might be the strongest multi-melee character. If both his hits connect, it deals more damage than a standard melee fighters, which make up for the lack of slash. An easy A tier. Moving to a slightly weaker character, Syrenne. Class, Multi-Melee. Hits 3 times. Against a character with normal defenses, she deals 324/7 damage 3 times, for a potential total of 981 damage. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, jump. Slash, no. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, 91%. You can see how Syrenne is basically a discounted Zesha. Less total damage, normal jump instead of high jump, and also lower defenses. Syrenne isn't bad, but needs items to bring out her full potential. Therefore, proper knowledge of their spawn locations is crucial. For this reason, she belongs in the B tier along the Reptid Scout. Next, the Undead Swordsman. Class, multi-melee. Hits 3 times. Against a character with normal defenses, it deals 327 damage 3 times, for a potential total of 981 damage. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, Gale. Slash, no. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, normal. Defenses, 91%. Just like the Undead Sorcerer, it often gets staggered on hit. This character is similar to Syrenne, but trades the jump skill with Gale, therefore can take advantage of magic essences. However, the fact that he can get staggered gimps this character quite a bit. Hard to play as and needs some help in the way of items to be decent. He goes into the C tier. Only 2 characters left. Here we have Zangurak. Class, multi-melee. Hits 3 times. Against a character with normal defenses, it deals 927 damage 3 times, for a potential total of 2769 damage. Movement speed, normal. Skill type, dash. Big oof. Slash, yes. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, thunder. Defenses, normal. Zangurak's damage potential is the highest in the game. Assuming all 3 attacks hit, you can deal massive damage. However, because of how slow they are and the fact you're locked into the combo once you start it, you usually only land 1 or 2 of 3 attacks. Paralysis arrows can help, but their availability is dependent on the map you're on and RNG. While his basic arrows deal 130 damage on a character with normal defenses, they are magical in nature, which means lower shooting rate and a bit less damage on casters. Dash is also the worst skill in the game, as we discussed with Berith. However, just like Berith, his Annihilator arrows deal an additional 500 flat damage, again given that he can put his hands on some to begin with, and while he can slash unlike the rest of the multi-melee fighters, he ends up being quite hard to play as. Therefore, I'd put him into the C tier. Closing up, we have Zepha. Class, he hits twice, so he would be a multi-melee, but can also cast spells, so since he does better with magic, let's put him in the caster class, but with an asterisk, since he's kind of unique. So, class, caster. Melee attacks, hits twice. Against a character with normal defenses, he deals 275 damage twice, for a potential total of 550 damage. Movement speed, 110%, like most casters. Skill type, magic. Slash, no. Vertical slice, yes. Arrow type, thunder. Defenses, 91%. Lower than normal, but higher than what casters usually get. Zepha spells are about 4% weaker than normal casters, have less AoE, and leave no magic circle. He also shares his arrow with Zangurak. However, due to his higher magic attack, they deal 495 damage against a character with normal defenses. Slightly more than the magic arrows fired by all other casters. Honestly speaking, Zepha is hard to place. His magic is weaker, but his arrows are stronger. He's got the speed of a caster, but the defense of a multi-melee. His melee attacks hit harder than most casters, but his vertical slice is pretty much useless as a result. I find it pretty hard to win as him, and based on this fact alone, I'll put him in the C tier. And with that, we come to a close. What have we learned at the end of this video? Well, one thing is that while some characters are merely reskins of one another, some of them have unique skill sets which sets them apart from the rest. Some can more easily fit certain arenas and matchups, but from my personal experience, it all comes down to the person behind the controller. Knowledge of game mechanics, arena layout, item spawns, strength and weakness of the opponent is what often makes the difference in Deathmatch. Like usual, like the video if you liked it, disliked it if you didn't, subscribe, leave a comment, and especially join the Discord in the description if you're interested in playing with us. Recently, several Spanish players have been quite active online, so much so that the server admin opened a dedicated Spanish channel for them. Player activity is there, so join in the fun if you want. And as always, see you in the next one.